Eric here with Team Eccentric. I'm going to bring you guys my Mermail deck profile as of August 2019. This deck hasn't seen too much of a change, but there's a few cards in the main deck, and then maybe like one or two cards in the main deck that's changed, but it's really the extra deck and the side deck that have seen the most evolution, most alterations, and honestly, I haven't done an update on this deck in a while, so I figured I'd bring you guys something, just something to kind of quench your guys' thirst, as well as I figured I'd bring you guys a combo tutorial of a combo that I figured out with one particular extra deck card and a few side deck cards. This combo is usually probably best for like game 2 or 3, depending on if you're going first or second, but I'll get to that after the deck profile. So I'm going to get right into it. We're going to start it off with the Mermails. So we're going to start off first of all with Moon Glacier. Obviously this card is a delinquent duo, 5 waters engraved, special summon it, rip 2 cards from your opponent's hand. If it leaves the field in any way, you don't get battle phase for the following turn, but either way it's still a 28 body, which can be really strong. We all know that. After that, triple Mermail Abyss Megalo. Obviously this is the puncher. This is the guy that puts in the most damage. You tribute an attack position water monster, he can attack twice. Obviously you reveal 2 for cost and ditch them, and then he can special summon himself, so it's really strong. After that, we have triple Mermail Abyss Teus. This is obviously one of your main combo pieces. This card, you just ditch 1 water and then you special summon it, and then if it hits field and its effect resolves, you get to search a level 4 lower Mermail, which we're following with 2 Mermail Abyss Gund. This is like Monster Reborn for Mermail. Essentially, you ditch this, you discard this in any way, whether it be for cost or card effect. You can target 1 Mermail in your graveyard and special summon it. After that, we play 1 Mermail Abyss Pike. This is mainly to search the Abyss Gund, or even the Marksman, depending upon the scenario you're in, now that back row is somewhat relevant again. And then 1 Abyss Mander. This is, I think, one of the only changes to the main deck. We play Abyss Mander because we are playing the Tricking of All Calamities, because it is really strong, so I figured that making it, you can literally make it off of Teus Dragoons, and do all kinds of crazy combos off of that, but Mander just allows you to bridge your way into Calamities, which is really strong. So after that, we're going to get into the Atlanteans, and we're going to start off with Deep Sea Diva. This is an extra copy of your Neptibus. Now, we also play 3 Neptibus, obviously that's standard. Send one Atlantean, add 1 Atlantean, and also if it's sent to the graveyard by a water monster's effect, target an Atlantean and grave special summon. We all know that. Triple Atlantean Dragoons, that's standard. Same, sent for cost by a water monster. Add any Sea Serpent from your deck to your hand. We play double Heavy Infantry. I was considering bumping this up to 3, but I feel like it gets a little cloggy at 3 unless you're playing like the Sekka's Light version, which I am not. I am playing a bit of a spell lineup in this version of the deck. I want to do a Sekka's version, but like I don't know, like it's kind of weird every time I play the Sekka's version, I just brick really hard, so, but I will maybe try and profile some kind of a version of that deck, just to kind of show you guys. I was going to do Warcust Atlanteans, but I didn't get the chance to before the ban list, so, after that we play 1 Marksman. This is just an extra name for the Atlantean engine, as well as the fact that you do, now that back row is kind of relevant again, you do kind of want something to be able to pop and or bait it out, so it is kind of relevant. So that's it for the Atlanteans. Now we're getting into the Frog package. Obviously triple swap, 1 Ronin, that's standard. I was also considering playing Dupe Frog in this build, but I just don't want a card that doesn't contribute to any combos, and Dupe Frog literally doesn't contribute to combos. It's just a body for Swap Frog, or for Swap Frog to send, or for Totally Awesome to summon from deck during the standby phase, and that's really not contributing to any of your combos. So I just feel like the best way to play this deck is to have every card that is capable of doing something, like have it in your deck, like have every card be able to do something at least remotely in some way. So, and I feel like Dupe Frog just doesn't do anything. Yeah, it adds a Swap Frog when it's sent to the graveyard, but it misses timing, so that's the thing. And after that, we have 2 Game of Seal. I was considering actually cutting these for 2 Aqua Spirits, and maybe putting them in the side deck. But honestly, with the current meta, with like Thunder Dragon still being relevant and Salamander 8 and everything like that still being around, I feel like, and not only that, also Sky Striker still also being relevant because, the only card that got hit was multi-roll to 1. So I feel like this card is just great. You just plop it right onto their field, right over one of their problem cards, and then you go off with your plays. So that's it for the water monsters, and now for the last 3, Triple Ash. Obviously the most standard hand trap in the game. This card is amazing. I honestly can't wait to see what the alt art of Ash Blossom looks like, but no matter what, I still love these secret rares. I think they're the best. So, and now we're getting on the spell cards. We play Triple Called by the Grave. This is mandatory because if your opponent has hand traps, it can really screw you up and really mess up your plays depending upon the composition of your hand. So you really want to have at least 2 of these, but honestly I like 3 because it can act as a really, as I've always said in every other deck profile that I play this card in, this card acts as a really smart technical card. Like you can, like for example, you can, if your opponent has a monster in their graveyard that they also have a copy of on the field, you can just like negate its effects, and it's just a really smart technical card in my opinion to play multiples of. Even if you just side it, but like honestly I think it's great in this main deck because it is a combo based deck, so you really want to go off with your plays, and hand traps can hinder you depending upon again the composition of your hand. After that, 2 Moray of Greed to unbrick, because sometimes this deck can get a little bit bricky. You can draw like multiple Game of Seals and not any combo pieces, and just being able to play this. And then also this in tandem with Called by the Grave can be relevant too. It's also a good bait card sometimes too. Like if you draw a pretty decent hand, but you think your opponent is telegraphing Ash, you can Moray, and then if they have it, then they Ash this as a bait, or if they, if it's just a really good card in my opinion in this kind of a deck. After that, 1 Abyss Skeleton Mizuchi. I was playing Sadis before. I'm considering putting Sadis in the side deck, but Abyss Skeleton of the Mizuchi is okay, but again, it doesn't have the best interaction with pendulums or continuous spells or field spells, so that's the thing. After that, 1 Salvage. Salvage allows actually you to facilitate Moray. I've said that in the last profile. It's actually pretty decent, especially if you draw a frog in this. Because if you draw this in a frog monster and then like maybe even another water monster, you can do some stupid shenanigans and like plus really hard. So that's a thing. 1 for 1, obviously an extra copy of Neptibus, Upstart Goblin, and then Monster Reborn, because you want to be able to thin your deck and bring certain monsters back from the graveyard. So that's it for the main deck. Now we're going to get into the extra deck, which has seen the most alterations. So first and foremost, a new card that I got out of Rising Rampage, Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. This card is basically a Light and Darkness Dragon on drugs. It's stupid. It's amazing. It's really, really cool. It doesn't come up all that often in this deck, but obviously Mermail is my favorite deck, so I'm going to throw it in here, especially considering it can make it, because Mermail can spam the board bit, so this is definitely a thing. After that, 1 Borlo Dragon, that's standard, be able to break boards. 1 Saryuja to be able to dig into your deck a little deeper. 1 Cypherm Lord of Lambda, that's another relatively new card. I mean, I've had the card and I've been testing it, and honestly I love it, and there is a 2-card combo that allows you to get into this with a 3-card hand loop and a negate, so it's actually pretty strong. And I'll show you guys that combo afterward. It's a combo that involves some cards in the side deck, but like if you go into game 3 and you go first, you can manage the combo, but also you can main deck them if you play the Second Life version. I'll show you guys after. And after that, 1 Mermail Abyss Lacia, because this is one of the strongest monsters you can set up in your extra deck, honestly. If you have like heavy infantry or marksman in hand, it just allows you to ditch for cost to search any Mermail monster. So you can even search Abyss Teus, which I was all excited about when I heard about this card, as I'm sure some of you guys have seen. But it allows you to search a Mermail, and then if you ditch heavy infantry on a new chain, you can pop something, or marksman, you can pop a set card. It's actually really strong. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, because you want to pop back row, and then 1 Link Karibo, because, I mean, Link Karibo. So that's it for the extra, or that's it for the links. Now we're getting into the Xyz monsters. Obviously, 1 True King of All Calamities. This card is amazing because what's cool is it doesn't negate your opponent's monster's effects. It says they cannot activate, which is a bit more restrictive. It's a bit more limiting in terms of what plays your opponent can make. So like your opponent can't even pay cost. So like let's say you're going up against Burning Abyss and you go first and you make this. If you detach after finding out what they're playing, they cannot activate. So it's not even like if they overlay into Dante, they can detach and mill for cost. They literally cannot do anything. so it's actually pretty strong. One, Mermail Abyss Giles, because it's essentially a smaller version of Calamities, except it does negate, it doesn't prevent from activation, and it prevents level 5 or higher monsters from attacking on both sides of the field. It can be a really strong card to lock your opponent out with, depending upon what scenario you're in. One, Mechafin Beast Strike with Sack. This is mostly for the combo that I will show you guys afterward. Doesn't really do much else, but I've been considering changing the deck up, but honestly I just kind of like this combo. 3-card hand loop with 1 negate is pretty strong. After that, 1 Bahamut Shard to go into Totally Awesome, 1 Abyss Dweller because it's Abyss Dweller, and then 2 Toad. I was considering also cutting a Toad, but honestly because I play both the Frog package and a way to get into rank 4s, I feel like 2 Toad is honestly mandatory, so that's it for the Xyz monsters. And then after that, 1 Cypher Lord Omega. This card is also part of the 3-card hand loop, as I'm sure you guys have guessed. Now we're going to get into the side deck. Side deck is all based on what your local meta is, what your personal preference is, but this is just kind of a template side deck, kind of a theory crafting side deck for what I've been messing around with lately, and honestly it seems to work pretty well. I mean, it has its downsides, but also it's just a lot of really strong cards that all have utility in games 2 and 3. So obviously we're playing triple Pankratops, these nice beautiful secret rares. Pankratops, obviously, it's one of the best side deck cards in the game, if not the best removal side deck card in the game. Your opponent controls more monsters than you can special summon it. It's a 26 level 7 body, and it tributes itself for cost to pop something. Anything, not even just monsters, so that's actually really strong. Not only that, because it's a level 7, it allows you to get into like Draco Sack pretty easy, which, I mean, it doesn't ever really come up in that scenario, but it can, so something to consider. After that, we're playing the Psyframe engine because we are playing Lambda, and this just allows you to facilitate Lambda's effect really, really well, so that's it for the monsters on the side. After that, we're playing 2 Twin Twisters. Just pop back row. I've been considering honestly bumping this up to 3, maybe cutting one of the Pankratops, but honestly I feel like Pankratops is just an overall destruction, like it just destroys anything. Twin Twisters is specific to spells and traps, so it is what it is though. After that, we side triple Impermanence, just another hand trap. It's effectively related to the Gammas and the Ashes. It's just better because it's a trap card, so it's a hand trap. So last but not least, triple Evenly Matched. This card is still pretty good, honestly. Your opponent, like let's say for example your opponent's playing Danger Thunder and you're able to bait out their Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. Somehow, like you can just drop this and then just basically eliminate everything on their board, so that's the thing. But that's it for the deck profile. Now we'll get into the combo. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you a 2-card combo that allows you to do a 3-card hand loop as well as establish 1 monster effect negate. Obviously this is giving you have the Psyframe Gear Gammas in your main deck as well as the driver, along with playing the certain cards in your extra deck. So generally speaking, what I like to do is I like to use this in game 2 or 3 depending upon if I'm going first or not. If I'm not going first, then I don't use it obviously, but if I'm going first and I draw these 2 cards, depending upon the other cards that are in my hand, the other composition of cards in my hand, then I like to do this combo because it just allows you to invalidate most of the cards in your opponent's hand, which can obviously lead to very easy, kind of cheesy wins. So it's a 2-card combo. All it requires is to have all the cards, sided in your main deck, or if you're playing the Gammas in your main deck, like a Sekka's Light version, say for example, all it requires is Abyss Teus and Dragoons. So we're going to get right into it. So first, to start this combo off, you reveal Teus, ditching the Atlantean Dragoons, and then you go Dragoons 1, Teus 2, so Teus resolves as 2, so you add Gund, Dragoons resolve as 1, you add Diva, and then from there, you normal summon Deep Sea Diva, effect, special summon Neptibus, so then you pay cost for Neptibus, you send another Dragoons to add another Dragoons, and then trigger the Dragoons in Grave, and then you add Mermail Abyss Megalo. So from here, you link summon, you specifically go Neptibus and Abyss Teus. You don't want to use the Diva, so you can go Neptibus and Abyss Teus, and you link summon into Cypher Lord Lambda, and then from there you reveal Megalo, discarding the 3rd Dragoons and Gund. And then you go Chain Links, Dragoons 1, Megalo 2, Gund 3. So Gund for 3, specials back Taste, doesn't matter what zone you put it in, as long as you have one of Lambda's zones free. And then you go Megalo 2, which allows you to search the equip spell. Just for deck thinning, you're actually not going to use this in this turn. That's just strictly for deck thinning. And then Dragoons for 1 allows you to add Mool and Glacia. And then from here, you should notice you have 5 waters in your grave. So then you special summon Moulin, ripping 2 cards from your opponent's hand. So that's already 2 cards out of 3-card hand loop. And then from there, you overlay, go into Draco Sack, put it in defense position or attack position. It's up to you, but I like to put it in defense position. You detach, and you create the 2 tokens. Give me a moment here. Let me find 2 tokens. So, 2 tokens. And then remember, the tokens are level 3, so you synchro them with the Deep Sea Diva. And you make the Saffron Little Omega. And then Omega's on board, so it allows you to take a card out of your opponent's hand. You banish it. And then you've officially ripped 3 cards from your opponent's hand. And then the way Lambda works is at the end phase of the turn, if a psychic monster on your field was banished while it's still face up on the field, during the end phase you can add a Psy-Frame card from your deck to your hand. So you add Gamma. And what's cool is while Lambda's on the board, Psy-Frame hand traps can be activated from your hand regardless of if there's monsters on the field. So this allows you to basically add a monster negate. And what's cool is following turns can be molded around this. So for example, let's say your opponent goes in and they try and activate a monster effect. You go Gamma, you do this, and then you negate their monster and destroy it, and then they end turn. This gets banished, and then because Lambda's on the board, you get another add of another Gamma. Now what's cool is during that end phase, Omega comes back. So then you go in, do whatever else you're gonna do. And if you don't kill your opponent, then during their standby phase, you put Driver back into the graveyard, and then you can use Gamma again. So it just allows you to also mold around future turns and kind of set up, the structuring for you to control the entire pace of the game, which is really strong in my personal opinion. Obviously, this combo does have some downsides. You are using a lot of resources to do this, but I feel like it's still a pretty decent combo. And it just allows you to utilize Lambda and Omega in the best way possible. And honestly, I think these cards are really strong. So that's it for the deck profile as well as this little combo tutorial. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. I really appreciate any of the views you guys give us. I've been away from Yu-Gi-Oh! For a little while. I mean, I've filmed some stuff, but not really been focused on it. I've been so preoccupied with skateboarding, and Joe's been preoccupied with what he's doing and things like that. So we've just been working on our own things, but we're going to be getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! As soon as fall and winter hit, as soon as the cold months begin, we will be rolling right back into Yu-Gi-Oh! So let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I'll be out of here. So Eric here at Team ECCENTRICK, and I'm signing out. Rate and subscribe, leave your comments and ideas in the comment section below, and don't hesitate to give us respectful suggestions on content you want to see. Eric on behalf of the team saying take care, and Team ECCENTRICK out.